Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's having a great day so far. Scott Sugden coming to you from California. Today we've got a great topic all about M1 and application case study presented to us from Alex, our product owner for M1. Alex, how are you doing today in Paris, my friend? Hey, Alex, how are you?
Hey, thank you, Scott. Hello, everyone. So I'm Alex. I'm an application design engineer in the loudspeaker system team. And we work for the development R&D process of the loudspeaker system and also the new M1 measurement platform. And
Alex,
welcome to everyone to this. Sorry, Scott.
Yeah, no problem. You're going to do a presentation today on an application case study, what we're going to call the basics of M1. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Well, I'm really excited. So we also brought along with us a panel of expert application engineers. I'm going to start by heading just a few kilometers away in Thousand Oaks, California. Marcus Ross, head of application for touring, or pardon me, director of application touring for US Canada. Welcome, Marcus.
Good morning, everybody. Yes, I'm Marcus Ross, Director of Application Touring for the Americas.
Oh, sorry, even bigger.
And welcome, everybody. Welcome to our M1 webinar. I hope everybody is staying safe and healthy in this time period, and looking forward to your questions and looking forward to Alex's presentation. Good morning.
And Marcus, you can answer questions for everybody in English and in Spanish as well, correct?
Yeah, totally. Se puede hablar en español también.
Excellent. Let's go ahead and travel slightly east, and by slightly I mean all the way to London. Sergey, how are you? How's everything in London today?
Hello, everyone. It's all good. Sun is shining. The sky is. There is a little bit of cloud here, but the weather is excellent, I would say. Thank you for joining this webinar again, and I will be replying to your questions in English, and I can also reply to your questions in Russian if anyone speaks Russian.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Sergey. And let's see, heading slightly further east to Julien's luxurious Parisian apartment in Julien Laval. How is things in Paris today? Oh, Julien's muted his mic. Okay, we're gonna unmute Julien here in a second, and we'll get him on the phone as well.
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm very happy to be part of this webinar from Paris. I'll be happy to answer a question in English, of course, et aussi en français for the people who want to practice their French. So happy to do that.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Julien. So I'm going to send it live to Alex. Alex, why don't you take it away?
Yeah. So welcome to everyone to the M1 walkthrough basics. Today you will learn a little bit more about our tuning system, including M1 in Network Manager. Oh, sorry. I will present to you 3 use cases. Use cases 1, 2, 3. The 2 first are already available on our website. The first one is related to the tuning of subs and main. The second one to main and delay. And the third one is related to tuning of sub, main, and front fill, and including a new feature I will present you soon. Okay, so right now, normally you have access to the beta version that you can easily download on our website. Just going on Project, Software, and clicking here on Network Manager, you have a short presentation of M1 suite with the 2 use case 1 and 2 available in the package Windows and for Mac also. You just have to register here, and you should normally receive a download link with Network Manager 3.0. Actually, this version this beta version use firmware 2.9, has the official 2.7. It's just that it's include M1 suite. I mean M1 in tuning page and RTA in the live page. Coming soon, the next official release will be LA Network Manager 3.1, including firmware 2.10, and with a lot of new features, including in particular 8 bus for the P1 instead of 4 actually, with new Milan specification inside, especially with AVB redundancy, and with a new feature regarding M1, which is related to the P1 group management. So as I've shown you, you can already download the beta version phase. You can, of course, use the, sorry for that, use the embedded help, where you can find here on the M1 use cases the description of each use case. So how the presentation of the setup for instance, this first use case 1 is main and sub using KS21 and A15. It's introducing how was recorded the measurement included in this use case and how to use auto align. Same with the second use case related to the tuning of a main of A15 main and A15 delay, how the measurement was recorded, how to use EQ and auto align. You can, of course, if you need, and you will probably need in tuning page, you can have access to the help, embedded help regarding M1 with the M1 workflow, how to set up, how to record, to EQ, auto align, and last but not the least, recommendations about the starting point of the measurement setup and how to review measurement and to improve the quality of your measurement if needed. Of course, for any questions, bugs, improvement, or idea of new feature, you can, of course, contact us directly through this M1 beta email address. So I think we are ready for the demo of the new 3.1 Network Manager session. So to do this, I will first start with a simple setup with only one P1. And as I told you, the new feature on this 3.1 session version is that we can directly measure P1 groups, for instance, to measure P series or just to measure third party in combination with L-Acoustics system. So you just have to create a group. Let's call bus guest. I can assign directly to the 8 P1 bus. Let's say that I want to use bus 1 and 2 for AVB driving my main and sub, for instance, and I would like maybe to use a bus fields dedicated for my P series. Let's say. So I can just assign this group to the bus 3, for instance. So, but 3 for analog output directly feeding my fields, and bus 1 and 2 for AVB for my main and sub. I can, as Scott shown you yesterday, you can add location to measure a group, and now with this new version of Network Manager, you can assign directly a group, a P1 group. That means now I am ready for a measurement. Just checking that I have already my mic ready for the preamp gain. I will just use one mic. with preamp gain and 48 volt power supply on. And normally I can go in tuning and open M1. I will directly arrive on the record tab. Of course, I cannot go, I have no view in AQ or autoline because I have not already performed any measurement. So to do that, I will just have to set my sweep settings. By default, you have 4 sweeps with hem duration, medium duration, and a sweep gain at minus 48 dB, which is a safety approach, of course. But I advise you to go and check our recommendation regarding the sweep settings and the quality of measurement and how to get it. There will be some white papers on it coming soon, and especially a webinar on Friday with Etienne and his team about how to get a good quality of measurement. So for the moment, I will just let it like this, and I have to route my generator. So for this field bus, I just have to assign my generator on the bus 3. Here you have a message, has no group harm, so I just have to harm my location, and now I'm ready. On location 1, I will use micron, and you get direct access to the preamp gain if you need to change it with the view meter. Beware that the view meter is a pre-mute view meter, so you have first, before starting recording, you have to unmute your mic. So normally we are ready to start. Okay, once measurement, the sequence is complete, you have access here on clicking on the measurement to the SNR, which with whose scale, Y scale is on the right side, SNR in dB, between 0 and 100 dB. So you can see here that we are very good, around 50 dB of SNR, with a quality bar which is green, means that it's a good measurement, a valid measurement. And you have access here to the magnitude of the sweep. You can easily check the magnitude of the 4 sweeps here, which are almost in the same line, same black line. The black line represents the sweep, the compute sweep, which will be used for the rest of the tuning. And here you can unselect, if it's needed, one or several measurements. Actually, we have a clever algorithm managing this multi-sweep, which can easily detect SNR too low and discard the SNR too low sweeps, or sweeps with like kind of too important disparity on the regarding the spread of the sweep. So here my 4 sweeps are correct. I can accept it, and if it's needed, I can check my measurement further away. As now it's recorded, I will have access to this measurement in the AQ tab, of course, and I will have access to the gain, delay, and AQ of my P1 group, my P1 measurement group, and also, of course, to its parent groups, the Godfather groups, bus guest EQ. Okay, so as you can see, it's quite easy to measure P1 groups the same way than measuring the amp groups, as shown Scott yesterday. And I will directly go onto the new use case 3, including P1 group and amp group measurement. Just let me rid of this. Okay. So in this use case, quite simple and traditional system, sub and main left and right system. And so I have sub left, sub right, main left, main right. Sorry. I have double checked the assignment of the parent group sub and the parent group main, including left and right side. And I have on a grandfather group sub and main. This left and right system is driven with AVB through the bus 1 and 2, bus left and right, whose parent group is bus left right. And I have also a front fill driven by bus 3 with my bus P series front fill. And the same bus guest EQ, including all the group and measurement group of the P1. As you can see, I have already here 6 locations, 2 on axis and 2 off axis to measure main and subs, and 2 front fill dedicated to measure sub main and front fill. So that means I will use this 4 location to tune sub and main together. And then once sub and main are timeline and EQ are well tuned, I will use this 2 location to tune front fill with my reference source sub and main. So as I explained to you, this use cases you will have soon already includes all the measurement. That means for the 3 groups, I have measurement on the 6 location. You can just check that measurements are already present here. So we can directly go in EQ. In EQ, you will find the same organization. I mean, the 3 measurement groups here, sub, main, and front fill bus, and the 6 location. So I have measured sub and main on the 6 location, and front fill on front fill 1 and 2. I can, of course, display. I can display first, for instance, all my main individual measurements, the 6 measurements in once, or just one by one, and of course the average. The same for the sub. I can display all the individual measurements or display the average. And if I want to display the current summation of it, I can just click here and here. I can maybe zoom on it a little bit. I can maybe, usually I choose first octave band to choose the good contour target. I try to align here. I can maybe just adjust here if it's needed or not. Oh, sorry for that. Okay, let's say it's good enough. So as you can see right now, my sub and main are not really in phase. So before making any EQ, let's just going to auto align tools. In auto align, you will also find the 6 location. And for each location, you will see that for the off axis and on axis, you have measurement group sub and main left. And for the front fill, sub, main, and front fill bus. So let's say I would like to first align sub and main. I will just have to click on it, choose the target group, I mean the group on which will be apply gain and delay and polarity. So as I have a left-right system, I measure left, but I will apply the delay and the time alignment strategy on the parent group sub. And for the main left, I will choose the main parent group. So as you can see, currently I can move from one location to another. On each location, there is not a good summation, a very destructive summation between the sub and the main. And you can already see that on the current summation, but also on the quality bar here. So maybe I can choose this one. I can zoom on it in the crossover, and I can also check the phase just by clicking here. So you can see that through the phase that we are completely opposite phase between the two sources currently. So let's just try to click on the first button, which is the option 1 of our algorithm delay finder. So what happened with this solution? He has proposed around 1 milliseconds on the main with a reverse polarity on the main. And you can see that it's quite good summation. And in the crossover, and the phase is correct. I can maybe try other solution. Option 2 will be a proposal with a good summation, very good summation around 54, 55 Hertz. And option 3 will have a good summation around 75 Hertz. So I think for this location, I will choose option 1 to get a good summation, a good in-phase signal on a broadband. And as you can see, the quality bar of all location is green. So of course I can do the same on different location. You see, most of time we have around 1 or 2 milliseconds delay on the main, and with reverse polarity on the main. So of course I like reverse polarity on the sub, so I can just link both sources to keep the same strategy, time alignment, and click on reverse polarity on the sub. So let's check in AQ tab. Now we have a good summation on the average. So that's quite a good point. But maybe, of course, I will listen to it and I can fine tune it by listening, and maybe I can play with the delay. So maybe 1 milliseconds. Maybe I can zoom on it. Okay, with 2 milliseconds, I have more infra but less impact. So you see that the lower the delay on the main, more impact and less infra. And if I put 3 milliseconds, I will have more, maybe more low end, but I will lose maybe impact. So of course, you can unmute source and play with M1 to listen the system the same time that you while checking your measurement and fine-tuning delay, gains, and polarity. So let's put 2 milliseconds. Now I can consider that my main and my subs are timeline, so I would like to perform some AQ. Of course, I could do AQ on main or sub separately, but I will prefer to AQ sub and main, sub plus main group, directly. So to do that, I can easily change the smoothing. I'm working on the curve with the cursor and apply some filters. As I'm a lazy guy, I have already prepared some AQ, trying to match the average with the contour. And of course, I can check the transfer function of the AQ, and I can bypass the AQ just to check the impact on the measurement while listening the system. So let's say that this EQ and time alignment is good enough for me. So next step will be to time align sub main with my front fill. So just displaying here the average of my two signal, two response of bus front fill on these two locations. Of course, I will just go on the specific bus dealing with my front fill, this one. I can have access here to the gain and delay. Maybe I can put, let's say, maybe more, actually, 0 dB is okay, maybe. I can, of course, play with EQ on it. Here I have, okay, it's working. Oh, maybe here, some points on it. I can bypass and check if it's working. And finally, I will want maybe to time align my front fill with my sub and main. So I just keep sub and main linked, and I can add my bus front fill with the bus front fill has target group. And as you can see, the summation is not really correct. So I can use, of course, a delay finder 1, 2, or 3, while maybe monitoring the impulse response of my main in red and my front fill in blue. So let's try to play with delay finder. So here it will propose 12 milliseconds, but not so good summation and reverse polarity. So maybe I can play with other option. This one seems better as I check on my response, impulse response. And I can play on the other location from fill 2. No, it just proposed 0 milliseconds. Already time align, that's perfect. Of course, as you can see, for the full range, you cannot have a green quality bar everywhere. So we usually advise for the front fills, for the fills alignment, to use delay mode in sound vision. But nevertheless, I can also check the contribution of my front fill. Sorry, I will just can check the contribution of my front fill. So as you can see, the summation with the sub and main seems quite correct. And of course, it's already also recommended to listen to it, to trust you here first. So that is the use case number 3, which will be available quite soon. When I say quite soon, we hope at best to release this official 3.1 version of LA Network Manager at best next week, but it has to be confirmed. Okay, thank you for your attention. Maybe you have some question regarding this use cases.
Yeah, Alex, that was really great. Obviously, there was quite a lot of comments and questions about P1 having 8 buses, so that was a nice little surprise for everybody. I know there's a lot of people excited about that. I had one, you were saying in the beginning, if you can use M1 and listen to it at the same time, how do we interact with, say, the mute status in M1 while we're actually looking at the measurements? Can you show how that's actually done?
Of course, you can just quit M1. You can just unmute some source. Actually, I haven't the system right here, but you can, of course, use it and just play within M1 and just going back to the source you want to listen. So maybe I could first unmute sub left and main left and going in M1 and just display sub and main, and maybe on sub and main try to bypass the EQ and listen to it to know, just to check with measurement while the system is on mute, to have a clear idea of the time alignment and the EQ. I can play like this, quite simple. I hope it answered to the question.
Cool. And then you were saying something, and I think this is a really challenging thing for everyone to understand until you really start to use M1. But someone was asking, how do you know if your settings are set? Like, how do you, like, where do you copy or paste, or is this, how do we know that it's there? It's just a very different feeling from anyone who's ever done calibration, you know, using two different software platforms before. So it's a really strange feeling. Is this something you have to set or turn on or turn off, or is it just ready to go?
Normally, if you have clearly prepared your calibration, maybe I can take another example with the use case 1, for instance, whose use case is already available on the website with the beta phase. If you have clearly identified, of course, the group and location, sorry, the group and the AMP channel assignation, as you do already with LA Network Manager official. And as you check, you have properly checked the parent group, all the groups, and the assignment between location and the group you want to measure. Normally, you have no problem to go into M1 and recording. Actually, if you have any problem, normally you will have some warning, like here I have forgot something, I forgot to harm, here I forgot to put the routing on it. So normally, if everything is okay, you should have no problem for the routing. Here I cannot cause there is no P1 online, and that's why we supply to you some use case with measurement. But normally, as soon you, for instance, as soon you apply gain, delay, and remorphing EQ, you will see it on the measurement, and it will directly apply, be applied on the group, on the playground, and of course on the amp. So you will directly listen to it. So for instance, I have put main minus 3 dB. Of course, it will directly be applied on the playground, on the group, and of course on the amp.
So what you're saying is any setting or change in M1 is instantly modified in the amplifier. So in fact, what you're seeing in M1 is a representation of the current status of the system at all times, correct?
Yeah, correct, exactly.
Oh, cool. So once again, for anyone who's never used M1 yet, if you're just downloading the files that we have on the website, it takes a lot to get used to this, but you have normally two pieces of software, that measurement software, that amplifier DSP software, and you always have to manually copy all your settings back and forth. And what M1 actually allows you to do is instantaneously merge those and know that if you change something in the DSP, you'll see that reflected in your measurement. And if you change something in the measurement, you'll see that reflected in the DSP. So Alex, I think you can even show this if you wanted. If you were on during the show, for instance, we're mixing the show, and the front of house engineer says there's too much 250 hertz in the system. If you took an EQ out at 250 on the all group, for example, or on your P1 bus, that would reflect.
Yeah, maybe on the P1. Yeah, if you want to change, I think for this example we can take the use case 3, because we have hybrid system. I mean amps and P1 groups with P series and sub and main. That's why if you need in live, even if you are on live, you can quickly return in the tuning. Of course, you have normally you will keep all the display. I haven't sorry, I haven't saved, so I will just quickly up. That was reverse 2 minutes. No, sorry. That was reverse polarity and 2 milliseconds on the main. Here I have a good summation. Let's say the front field is already time aligned. if you need during the show to tune and to check directly the consequence on the system, the whole system, you will be able, for instance, here, if I need to put less 54, I can, of course, apply. You see it will be applied directly on the summation of the main sub and also on the front field, the complete system.
And this would be true whether you change that value in M1 or in the network manager workspace, right? So if in the middle of the show, the engineer says, hey, Alex, can you please turn down 52 hertz? It's just killing me. And you make that change here in the network manager playground. If you go back to your M1, you'll actually see the measurement updated. So in the middle of the show, you can actually take a look at the response modification based on the EQ change.
Bypass.
Yeah,
of course.
That's really great. That's really neat. I like that a lot. So I noticed something else that you seem to customize, and I've had a few people ask this question. Obviously, in the EQ page especially, we show a lot of different measurements. Is there a way you can custom color things to your personal preference? Can you modify the colors or size of lines at all?
Yeah, of course, we have some here. We have the measurement viewer settings. So you can normally easily, for instance, effectively, I have a lot of measurement here. So for instance, I have red and blue for the main. So here it's the red and blue. And if I need, I can change it to other colors directly with this measurement viewer settings.
That's great.
It should be saved with your customers' settings, your user settings for the next session.
Great. So if I'm on tour, example, I might have a very common system every single day that's the same 12 aside K2, and I'm going to measure the system at the same 6 to 8 locations.
Yeah, you will keep your viewer settings, of course. You are talking about the touring, maybe an interesting aspect functionality here on the maintenance button. Sorry, you can import also and export measurement. I mean, if at one day during you have a good reference you want to keep, you can export it and then re-import to another session for the day after, for instance. So it can be quite useful to use reference curves like this.
Excellent. I'm just checking here to see if we have any other great questions asked for today. Otherwise, for the rest of the week, we have tomorrow a presentation on measurement workflow, our loudspeaker calibration workflow, pardon me. On Thursday, one of our colleagues from France is going to produce or present to you guys a case study of a walkthrough with a pretty advanced system, including using auto filter and auto splay. And then on Friday, we have a presentation on measurement quality and representativity from Etienne Courtel, which is, to say the least, enlightening to find out where you should place your microphones, how many microphones you need, what's good data, how to get the best data, so on and so forth. Sergey or Marcus or Julian, I don't know if you guys have any good questions to send over our way. I haven't seen a whole lot other things come through that I think we should try to tackle at this moment. Sergey, how are you doing in London? Is everything good over there?
I'm good, thank you. I'm dealing with the Q&A part of it still, and yeah, excellent. I think we're fine here.
Excellent. Julian, how's everything in Paris? Still good in your luxurious high-rise? Was it 5,000 square meter apartment? Is that what you?
Yeah, very good. Like as you can see, like it's a whole. There might be a huge reverberation time. No, I did see on the questions there are many questions related to the use itself of EQ and alignment, and what is actually the goal of calibration, if it's just to make a frequency response flat and such. So it's a little bit more subtle than that, but as a very rough figure for the calibration, is basically we're taking measurements at a lot of different locations at the same time, and we kind of average all those measurements. And it's not, the game is not to make a curve flat, but it's to find discrepancies and to smooth them and adjust that. And also there's also this concept of contour where we have a flat frequency response at high frequency, and then there's a constant build-up at low frequency. But for that, I invite everybody also to follow other webinars so they get familiar with this contour aspect that is also associated to the design. Yeah, that's the further webinars are going to be complementary events to understand also why we do a frequency response that way.
There we go. Sorry about that. I just wanted to summarize that you had a great comment on the goal is not necessarily to hit a perfectly flat target, but obviously to find the most consistent results for the system. What we're going to talk about tomorrow is trying to match the loudspeaker calibration to the design. So it's kind of the idea that when you get on site, you're not trying to actually do your sound design, you're just trying to match the objectives of your goal, right? My goal was to have this much SPL distribution, this kind of tonal response consistency, and that's something you can do from that point. Marcus, everything good over in Thousand Oaks as well today? Marcus, your mic is muted there. You missed a pickup.
Missed a pickup. There you go. Sorry. No, everything is good here. We had a good question here about the ability to make snapshots.
That's definitely a great question. So I think Alex showed a way you can import a reference trace from the day before. So for me in a touring application, I often wanted to obviously hit an objective. The tuning goal was to match what the behavior is expected of the system. So what you can do is when you've got a desired behavior, you can just export yesterday's front of house trace and import it into today's front of house trace to see the similarities or differences. So that's something we can do at this time with that advanced feature Alex was showing, which is the ability to export and import. So. Alex, did you have anything else? Yeah. I think that was it for today, question-wise.
Yeah, I think so.
Great. Well, everyone, I want to thank everyone for taking the time today to join us. Tomorrow is loudspeaker calibration workflow, starting at the same time. Please don't hesitate to join us. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us with questions on social media. On Thursday, we have that advanced walkthrough of M1, and on Friday, that presentation from Etienne Cortel. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Please have a great rest of your day. Be safe, be healthy, and take this time to grow your knowledge and learn more about how you can advance your system design and tuning and calibration skills. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.